might share some things with you that you're like, I know this already, Harold. Why are we talking about this? If you do, great. Some of you might be just a reminder. Others will be like, oh, snap, I never heard it in this way before. Now, people always say, what is money? Everybody thinks of money as what's in my pocket, what's in my bank account. Especially nowadays, everything is digital. So it's not really what's in your wallet. Most people don't carry that much cash. But one of the things I want people to see things is money is really just a symbol. Right? At the end of the day, when you say, I want to get this salary, this OTE, this whatever the case is, it's really not the OTE or the money. It's what the money supposedly or that number can do for your life. We use it more as a tool, right? Really, it's a bartering system. I want to have this extra money. I want to have this extra pay. I'm going into my accelerators or into, I'm overachieving because I want more tools at my disposal. So the way I want most people to look money at is providing options and leverage, right? So what money really does is say, I have more options. Do I buy a Birkin bag or do I buy Michael Kors, right? Do I go to Payless or do I go to Luby? Only way I have those options is what I have essentially in my accounts. Can I buy a certain type of house in this neighborhood or can I not, right? Can I send my kids to this type of school or can I not? So really I want you to see it as leverage and options on how you can utilize those things to propel the lifestyle that you want to have. So essentially, there's 4 forms of ways that you bring in revenue into your life. One is as an employee. That's the most basic that most people know. That's probably 95 to 98% of the world, and give or take, right? That's just, hey, I am giving my service. You are paying me for that service, and that's our agreement, right? But I'm transferring that time and effort for that money or leverage. Then we can go down to the self-employed, right? If you're a consultant, you're 1099, anything of that nature. I control my job. I own my job. It's not a business. People call themselves business people, and I hate to burst a bubble, but if you own your job, you just own your job. You don't own a business, right? It's just I can control what I do in that business or in that job. I can't call it a business. But then we go over to the right side of that quadrant, which is the business owner, right? Business owners is leverage. So everybody who's employed by someone, you are their leverage. What does that mean, Harold? Well, I had this vision to create this type of company or do this type of thing in the world or whatever the case is. I need talent and people to help me get there. So you became the employees on the other side to help them meet this goal and is used as leverage. Not a bad thing because we're both using each other, right? And I'm going to teach you how to use your job to benefit yourself as well, your employment. Now, the best in place that all of us can get to, regardless of wherever we are on this quadrant, is investor. Period. End of story. I don't need to be a business owner to be an investor. I can be an employee and I can be an investor. I can own my job and I can be an investor. The one thing we should all be doing, and at some point in our careers, is be investors. Does this make sense? Right? Because the reason you want to be an investor is this is money that you said, I'm sending out into the world and it's coming back with children. And I want them to come at as many children as they can. Period. End of story. Because I don't know about you, I don't plan on selling for the rest of my life. Right? Not for too much longer, to be quite honest with you. I plan on seeing a lot more of the world. So becoming an investor helps you get to that place that you need to get to. So why is this important? Because for those of you, can we raise your hands? If you are W-2, raise your hand. That is the majority of the room. So what W-2 means is 50% money. How? What do you mean 50% money? So just so you know, I don't give a damn if you have an OTE of 300,000, you're really making 150. That's your take-home pay. After whatever it is they take out of your account, out of your taxes, this, that, 401k, all the other fun stuff. Don't get me wrong, the 401k is going somewhere else. But when you have it in your hand for you to spend, it's usually about 50%. Give or take, right? So this type of money you got to work hard for, right? You got to continuously work for. That's why every quarter, every month, every fiscal year, you're thinking about the next thing and you're planning, all right, how do I achieve this again, right? Because you need to replenish those coffers at some point. And that's why we do what we do. That's why I hate W-2 money, right? And the reason I hate W-2 money is because not only do I only get half of it, I can't do anything else tax-wise with it. What does that mean, Harold? Let's talk about portfolio and passive income. Portfolio money is when I buy stocks, right? And it appreciates. I buy bonds, mutual funds, any of that kind of stuff. So now, when I hold it for over a year's time and I happen to sell it, it's called capital gains. Whoa, what's the difference between capital gains, Harold? Well, it's not taxed at 50%. It's taxed somewhere between 23 and 25%. So now I get to keep more of that money that I just made. Hence why, remember why we invest in. I want to keep more of my money legally. This is one of the ways to do it. So that's why if you're in your company stock plan, good for you. When it appreciates and you get to sell it, as long as you hold it for at least a year or more, has to be long-term capital gains. By the way, I'm not an accountant nor an attorney, so please check with your financial advisors and so forth. That's my disclaimer. Then we talk about passive income, things such as real estate, right? Now, if any of you guys are artists or anything of that nature, or you own, I don't know, somebody's, catalog, you can get royalties or distributions. But when it says passive, it means you are not actively involved in the making of that money. So remember I told you I sent that money out and it came back with you. I had nothing to do with that. They did what they did and came back to me. So in the real estate, for instance, I own a rental property, right? I bought the property. I've set up a management company. I barely do anything but check on the management company and make sure that they send me my checks every month. So I'm passively involved in the business. Why is this important, Harold? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because I'm not involved actively, I can write off anything involved with that business. So, like for real estate, I can depreciate the asset. What does that mean? Well, houses break down, toilets break down, this thing, that, and the other. Now I can go to the government and say, hey, I own this house. Yeah, I know you say it's worth $100,000, but right now I got to write off about $27,000 worth of money off this. Again, why is this important? If I make $100,000, I'm getting taxed. I'm coming home with 50 to 70 grand. But now, because I have a write-off of 25 grand, my taxable income now goes down to 75,000. So instead of them taxing me on 100 grand, I'm getting taxed on 75. So some of that money that they're taking out of your check every 2 weeks or whatever the case is, or every month, you get to see it back at tax time, right? So you gave the government a tax-free loan, they'll give it back to you in April, give or take. How to think about saving. So just out of curiosity, how many people save some money? Please say you save some money. Okay, good. All right. So I knew we was in a room of smart people. But let's see, I'm curious. I want to hear some different answers. If you're not shy, you can shout them out. Why are you saving? Emergency, I like that. Huh? Down payments on stuff. What else? House upgrade, great. Retirement, great. Anxiety? Now, okay, no, that's good. Anxiety. I love all those answers, but I'm going to debunk some of them as we go into this a little bit more. So, when you save money, the purpose for you to save for your W-2 is so you to invest, right? So there's different levels of money. There's level 1, W-2, right? My job. That's my liability. That's not my liability money. It's my asset buying money, right? We'll go into the asset liability thing. But actually, let's talk about it now. The difference between an asset and a liability is an asset puts money in your pocket, right? You bought it. It gave you a return on investment. A liability means it's constantly taking money out of your pocket. The problem most people do is that they take care of their liabilities first and then say, whatever's left over, I'm going to try to buy an asset, where it's that's a backwards way of thinking. We should be constantly buying assets. So this is where the delayed gratification has to come into play, right? Maybe I can't buy that house this year. Maybe I can't go on that trip. Maybe I should save a little money so I can buy this asset so that asset pays for it. I'll share a personal story. Came out of college, super excited. Parents gave me a little money for graduation. My dumb ass, and I'm going to be very frank with, I went and bought a BMW. Dumb. Right? Mind you, my brother was in real estate. You would have thought he would have beat me over the head and said, no, let's take that money and go buy some real estate. But he told me he did it because he wanted me to learn a hard lesson. Did I have fun with the BMW? Absolutely. 22 years old, BMW. Yeah, I could figure it out. Right? But then my brother one day, I said, yo, how are you doing what you're doing? Because he's a real estate investor. And I said, show me what you do. He said, no problem. Let's take a drive out to Brooklyn. I said, okay, let's go. So we drive on Brooklyn, mind you, in his Ferrari. That's one of the cars, that's like my dream car. So I'm sitting there like, damn, this is nice. So what he does, he says to me, so you see this building over here? I was like, yeah, what about it? That's the building that pays for my house. I said, okay. He said, move down the block. This is the house that pays for this Ferrari and the other cars that I have. Remember that trip I took you for your graduation? This house pays for it. So what he did was bought assets that pay for the liabilities. Did everyone catch that? Right? One of my other mentors told me buy a building for every bill. That's another way to look at it. Right? But just buy an asset for every bill. That's how you should think about your money. That first level money is not for you to go splurge and boss out. It's to buy the assets that allow you to boss out. Because if you do this right, in a certain amount of time, depending on how aggressive you are with this, you don't have to sell anymore. Right? You work because you want to, not because you have to. There's a different place. Now, just out of curiosity, I asked this question too. How are you saving? Are you saving just putting money in the bank? Are you in your ESPP program? Are you buying RSUs? Are you putting in the mutual funds? And again, if you don't want to share your business, it's okay. I just want you to think about that in your mind, right? But the reason I want you to think about that, how many people know about the rule of 72? So one person. Okay, let me move out the way. I need y'all to see this, all right? So this is very, very important. So what this, all this is saying is the interest that I get on my investment, and even debt, so it could work against you too, is how long it will take my money to duplicate itself or to double, right? So if I leave my money in a regular bank, number one, you're losing money. FYI. If everybody didn't know, you see the memo, it's 8.5% inflation, which means your $100 in the bank is now worth $91.50. Don't let that go over your head. So if you don't invest, you are losing money. Period. End of story. Just because of inflation. And let's say when inflation was normal at 2 to 3%, you still means your $100 is worth $97. So you need to find a way to make up that money. Now, don't forget, you already got 50% taken by the IRS, right? FICA, MICA, whoever the hell else takes money out of all our things, right? I be seeing my check, I almost cried. Tell you a funny story. First time I started working at LinkedIn, I was self-employed before I went to LinkedIn. I got my first check. I called my wife beefing. She's like, yo, what happened? I said, I think they shortchanged my check. She's like, what you mean? I said, I didn't get none of my money. She's like, hold on. Tell me, what were you supposed to get? She said, let's look through the statement. And she's like, oh, you forgot what W-2 life is like. So you know why I forgot what it was? Because when I was self-employed, even though I owned my job, I was able to I got my money, wrote off my business expenses, and then paid my taxes. Whereas W-2, they take my taxes and then give me the rest. Not fun. I'm telling you, when you're on the other side, you're going to see life in a whole different way. This is critically important. So if I get 6% on my money, not bad, but that means it's going to take me almost 11 years for my money to double. If I get 10%, it's going to take me 7 years to double. So as the better returns that I'm getting on my money, the faster my money grows. But even if you want to be conservative, let's say they say the index funds do about 10% a year. Obviously, this year don't count. This is a rough year. But in general, right, they do about 10%. So every 7 years, if I'm putting money away into these index funds, as an example, in 7 amount years, that money should have doubled. The power of compounding interest. And if you want to talk about powerful women, I'll give you an example. How many people ever heard of Aisha Selden? Anybody know that name? So a couple of you know her. Good friend of mine. She started off in the financial advising industry, but all she did was squirrel away her money into different stocks, buying buildings in Philly and different stuff like that. Now at age, she's probably a millionaire, probably in her early 30s. But right now, she's chilling. She only works because she wants to. She's like, yo, my residuals is too crazy. I'm not letting that go. Right? So that's, like, especially, I think there was a young lady here was earlier. She was 23 years old. Please start putting some money away into things that make money for you. How should you allocate your funds? That's the question, right? How to have some discipline, I think somebody said out there. So here's the number one thing I'm going to tell you. Pay yourself first. I don't want to hear this nonsense about I'm going to pay my bills first and then save money. You are your most important bill. Yes, no, maybe so? Would you agree? I don't believe y'all. Do you agree? Yes, you are your most important bill. So you should be paying yourself first. You doing all the work. Why should the credit cards, your car note, everybody else get the money first before you? It doesn't make sense. You got to take care of yourself first, right? In the airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then go help somebody else. So pay yourself first. Take care of yourself first. Now, take your savings and invest the money. Please do not leave it in the bank account. That's horrible. We're moving one money into one account into another account that will at least give us a chance of a higher return. You're guaranteed to lose 3 to 4%, now 8% in the bank, right? Maybe, yeah, because they're giving you 0.01 something percent, so that's pretty much negligible. So you're losing money in the bank. So give yourself an opportunity to invest. Even like right now, listen, if you got some money squirreled away that you didn't invest, stocks are on sale. If you're in any good companies, this is the time to buy them. Microsoft, Apple, Google, whoever it is. I'm not proponents for any particular one, But if companies that you feel they're going to be around for quite a bit of time, it might be a good idea to own a little piece of them. This was examples, like for those of you who have ESPP programs, that's one way of doing it. The index fund, which I explained to you before, real estate that we're talking about now, even putting it, like, listen, not everybody is well equipped to deal with crypto, but crypto is one way of doing stuff like that. I just rather see your money in assets versus pure cash. Cash is no longer king. I don't care what anybody tells me. Cash flow is king. And queen, if you want to put it that way, right? You want cash flow, right? The whole purpose of why you guys hustle and work and make those commission checks is so you can increase your cash flow. Not just your cash, right? Hence why you like places that pay you commissions monthly instead of quarterly or annually. Cash flow. So, the moral of the story, focus on acquiring assets so they can pay off your liabilities. That is the goal of your job. Your job is not to keep you just over broke, it's so that you can buy assets. All right? If there's anything you take from today's presentation, it's that last part. Use your money to buy assets so that way the assets pay for your lifestyle. I'll give you another example. Took a trip with my family to Aruba. Wild out. Jet skis, Bubba, all kind of dinners, this, that, and the other. Swap with the card. Guess what? Business paid for it. Ha! And guess what? I went to go check out some property, so part of that's a business write-off. Win. So I'm telling you, when your business, whether it be real estate or your assets, like your stock dividends. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you about this. This was beautiful. I forgot about oh my gosh. So if you buy dividend-paying stocks, like a Microsoft, like a GE, the different other companies, if you own enough of those stocks, guess what? That's another level of cash flow. That's another level of cash flow. So eventually you own enough shares, maybe $800 a month, maybe, whatever, $1,000 a quarter. I don't care what it is, as long as it's more money that you didn't put out. Right? My Microsoft stock, I got more Microsoft stock because I just reinvested dividends and buying more stock. I don't need the money right now. Right? Nice little graphic here of how you need to do this. But this thing when you're starting, here's how you start. Sit down, say, today, how much does it cost to be me? How much does it cost for my rent? How much it costs for my car note? How much it costs for my electric bill, Netflix, everything. Make a spreadsheet. We're all used to doing that, right? Google Sheets, I don't care what the hell you use. How much does it cost to be me? Now you have to figure out, what do I need to get to live financially free? How many assets do I need to buy depending on my choice of how I want to do it? What kind of return do I need to get? This will give you an idea of what you need to do next. Like, what is that plan? Right? So if I'm buying my ESPP and I know I'm in a solid company, even though right now I might be a little bit down, I know long term, this is this set of money to do this later because I've now prioritized that for that. Right? Even in my 401k or my self-directed IRA, I know I want to retire at this point. So maybe I do some investments inside of there, and that's what that is for. Right? The best way to understand is, what does it cost and how do I attribute to that? And then the second thing I need you to do is, how much it's going to cost me 5 years from now. Right? So today I might be single, right? So I only got a townhouse or a condo, but I might want to get the house on the hill. How much that house cost? How much would that add to how much it costs for me to be today? What do I need to invest in to make sure I have enough to cover that expense? Right? So understanding who you are and what your tolerance is and what you want to achieve will make sense. Me and my wife sat down 2 years ago, just before COVID, said, yo, what's our freedom number? What's the number that we need to say, good luck, God bless, any job we want? And again, we work because we want to, not because we have to. So from that date, we've been focused on getting to that number. Period. That's all our focus is. And that's all we talk about when it comes to financial stuff. Yo, should we do that? I don't know. Is that messing with our number? Right? When you have a North Star, it's going to help you direct on how you're going to move. Right? And this is why I put this graphic in here, because this is the stuff that most people do. Right? Poor people, income. They buy, and then they go buy impulsively, then they pay their expenses. Hence why they have bad credit. Then you got the middle class, which is quickly disappearing, folks. Right? You have your income, you pay off your expenses, then all right, whatever I have left. And this is what most of us do, because we all do all right for ourselves. Right? We do better than the average American. So we'll do this and move on instead of investing. That right side is the right way to do things. I'll debate with anybody, and I'll prove it to you every time. But and forgive me, I forgot your name. Sherelle brought up, how do you start? Understanding who you are and what you need is the first step. And then saying, now creating a plan. If you can create a territory plan, if you can figure out how to, maximize a $9 million book, $50 million book, you better figure out how to run your life. Right? You're your most important client. Come on. I thank you for you guys' time. Thank you.